Thank you, Naventus, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Camilla. I'm the CEO of a Norwegian company with a Japanese name, but I'm Swedish. So it feels like a gift every time I get a chance to come back. I haven't lived here for 20 years, though, but I come from Värmland, so some of you might say that I'm not Swedish in the first place, but I feel at home to come back. Let me give you this visual before we go into the presentation. This is our battery. This is a battery that is storing energy in the form of heat. This thing, as our CTO would call it, is storing 56 megawatt hours of heat. This can easily be scaled up and down, depending on how much you need to store, from 16 to 96 megawatt hours. We'll talk more about that, but I wanted to show you this visual. This is what we're going to talk about. And why? So a step back. It's well known and accepted, I'm sure, to everyone in this group that storage is an equally important part as the solar and the wind and the sources in the energy transition. Without the storage, we will not be able to do this. For the industry, the solar and the wind is useless, to use a provocative word, if you cannot deliver stable supply of energy. So storage, an equally important part. And as we heard, half of the energy demand in the world is heat, almost entirely produced by fossil fuels, contributing to 40% of the CO2 emission. But this we almost never hear about. And even more astonishing is that it is technologies available to address this today. So this is really a low-hanging fruit with a significant possibility to have a very meaningful impact on the energy transition. And that is why we are focusing on the heat of this. We call this presentation on the doorstep of market breakthrough with a proven technology. There is two messages in there, and let me start with the proven technology. The concentrated solar power industry have stored energy in molten salt for decades. We see such a plant. This is one of the plants in Spain. We see a tower in the middle and the mirrors around reflecting the sunlight on the tower, and in that tower is molten salt that is being heated up. So storing energy in the form of heat in molten salt has been done for decades. What we are doing is that we are carving out the battery part of that. The CSP industry is using the steam from that circulation to feed the turbine and produce power. What we have done is that we have carved out the molten salt part, so the heater, the tanks with molten salt, and a steam generator. And we stay heat, so our value proposition is heat. But it is a proven technology which we apply to new industries in an innovative way. So this is the heat cube as we saw it. This is our second generation of the heat cube. We have now spent a year being in dialogue with the industry to understand how they need to store the energy. And we learned that the industry needs a bigger heat cube than we initially thought about, and it needs to be modular and flexible. So it's three pieces. That is the modular component, and that is the heater. How quickly do you need to fill this battery? Do you have a few hours for example, on the grid, available with cheap electricity. For example, such in Denmark, where you have lots of electricity on the grid from the offshore wind during the night. Then there are many hours where we even get paid to charge our heat cube because we take the power down from the grid. And then we deliver it to the industry when they need it. If you have a few hours every now and then you will want to have a more powerful heater so that you can fill this heat cube quickly. But if you are in Spain and the task is to fill this battery during the day when you have the PV, maybe you have 10 hours and then you're going to deliver that energy during the night to the industry. You can save cost and have a less powerful heater. So you're scaling this heater from 10, 20 to 30 megawatts. You dimension the storage depending on how much you need to load shift. And then the discharge capacity is, in this case, 5 megawatts. And we are operating currently in the temperature range of 170 to 415 degrees. To do this, we have established a tech team with the world-class molten salt expertise in Spain, which is where you find the engineers who have done this for decades. So we acquired a company in Spain, and with that acquisition came what we call Mr. Molten Salt in Spain, Andres Barros Barrero, which you see on this slide. And we also have a strong collaboration agreement with KTH and with Rafael, who we will also hear more from today, to support us on the tech side in the rollout of this technology. We have also recently signed a letter of intent to engage in technology collaboration with Alfa Laval to look into components of this, for example, to capture waste heat from industry and how to circulate and transfer the heat the most efficient from the heater to the steam generator or the discharge of air. We are as we speak, finalizing the first full-scale heat cube at Nordjyllandsværket in Aalborg in Denmark, which is a coal-fired combined heat and power plant who has committed to phasing out the coal by 2028. They are installing various technologies to test new technologies to support in this transition. And the heat cube is the first technology in their R&D park. And we are finalizing the commissioning as we speak. We are 70% through the cold commissioning, and we are expecting to hand this over to Nordjyllandsværket in the second quarter this year. What is the market potential? As we heard, almost all heat today is produced by fossil fuels. And it's a lot. So if you look on the global demand from the industry today is 26,000 terawatt hours of energy needed, which today is produced by fossil fuels. So this is a significant market. As we heard, we are operating in the range of up to around 415 degrees. So when looking at the space that we are able to address, and which is where the most technologies are available to address today, the demand is still 11,200 terawatt hours. So only that is a €1 trillion market. So this is a significant market with technologies available to solve a very important part of the problem that we almost never hear about. It's changing. We will see in the electricity market design in Brussels, the new proposal will come out on Thursday, and we will see storage, and we will see thermal energy storage in that. And if you follow the energy transition debate on LinkedIn, you will see that there are more and more reports that are pointing to the heat being a significant part of the problem and the solution. Almost any industry is using heat. Anything we wear, we eat, we sit on, there has been heat involved in producing that, but it's invisible to us. There are 6 industries which stands out to us, with a significant heat demand, and that is the pulp and paper industry, chemical and petrochemical industry, some minerals, metals, food, and iron and steel industry. So that's our target area to start with. We also mapped out what's the ideal, what's the beachhead strategy? Where do we start to roll out this technology? And of course, then we started with the demand. Where is it demand, high demand for the heat that we can deliver? But then we also looked into, okay, where is it a lot of solar and wind in the system? So we have the problem with the instability on the supply side that needs to be stabilized. So we added that layer to the strategy. And the third layer we added, okay, where have the governments understood this? So where is its support from the government to phase in new technology? And if you put those three layers on top of each other, there's a handful of countries that stand out. Spain being one of them, where you have a lot of PV installed, and which also comes handy for us, as that is also where we have established our tech team, and they are also used to storing heat in molten salt. So they are not expecting a proof of concept. We need to see it before we do anything. They are used to this. UK, lot of offshore wind, lot of instability on the grid. Governments have understood this. There are policies in place to support storage. Unfortunately, it has been focused until now more on the electricity storage, but the heat message is starting to sink in. Of course, Germany, both a lot of PV and a lot of wind, and the government really stepping up to address this topic. Denmark, in the front, a small market, but they have been early with a lot of offshore wind on the grid. So they have learned to live with the instability and installed flexibility markets to help balance the energy on the grid. Norway, where we are, Norway is a battery already with a lot of hydropower. But there is a lot of waste heat in Norway, almost 9 terawatt hours, just that goes out the chimney. So if we can capture that and loop that back into the system, and that is why we're also including Norway on our... we are doing also cases in Sweden, but it's not the same level of volatility on the system here as when you come to UK with the offshore wind and Spain with all the PV. And the unfortunate event with Russia and Ukraine has fueled this, because suddenly the industry is desperate to reduce the dependency on gas. And all the heat in the industries are produced by a gas boiler today. So we have seen the industry waking up the last year. So we started going to the market around 1 year ago, and from that, from 0 to today, we are talking with around 50 industrial clients. Among them, many of the large international corporations. So the industry is doing this. Even though we don't hear so much about the heat transition in the debate, the industry is waking up and is desperate to find solutions to replace the gas. And I just wanted to close with this, which is a statement from LinkedIn last week. But if you follow the debate on social media, you will see much more reports on this topic being shared. And this was from Ambienta, an Italian significant investment firm, saying that no industrial company will be able to reach zero emission without addressing the heat generation. It's about heat. That's my closing message. Thank you.
Let's do some rearranging of the furniture here just for now so we both can fit here. So great, Camilla. I'm curious, you mentioned a report or a statement coming out from the EU next week. Could you elaborate a bit more about that, please?
Yeah, it's a lot of intensity in Brussels to redesign the electricity market in Europe. It's not working. It has been electricity only that has been the cash and the value stream. And it's very strong messages from Brussels that that era is over. And now we need to look into mechanisms, how we are going to support this transition, where storage is going to be one important part. Today, we don't get paid for installing storage. We get paid to sell energy to the industry. But we can make a business case out of it today, because we can charge it with the cheap hour, and then we can sell it to the industry. So we are able to do a business case with load shifting, but it's still the energy that is being paid. what we will see is there going to be a lot more mechanisms to support really the energy transition.
So Camilla, who else is, I mean, we'll be frank, who are your main competitors in this field?
Yeah, so we are in a consortium that is called the Long Duration Energy Storage Consortium, because this is technologies that can do the load shifting from day to night or night to day, which is more than 10 hours. And there are many players coming into this field, and I view us as partners because we need to build this segment. When we are in the tender process, we are competitors because then each of us wants to win. When that tender process is over, we are partners again. But we have Energy Nest, we have Aselio in Sweden, we have Soltex in Sweden, we have Brandmiller, Israel company listed in US. But I would say that we are targeting various segments in the industry. So it's almost more partners than competitors for a long time, I believe.
And we need to be many, right?
Exactly. No one company will be able to take this demand.
I have one final question. We know that in many countries of Europe, the district heat is still fueled by, well, they don't have district heat in many countries, basically, but the heating problem of cities is major. Are there any opportunities in looking at heating cities, not companies?
Yeah, so the first heat cube we are doing is for district heating in Aalborg. It is a little bit of a Ferrari for district heating because you need lower temperatures. But if you go larger scale than our, then you can make a business case out of that. But you are providing a very sophisticated technology to district heating that needs lower temperature. District heating today is storing energy in water. But to do that, you need a lot of space. So, of course, if you increase the energy density by going molten salt, you reduce the footprint, but then you need also to increase the volume to make a decent business case out of it. But that's absolutely a possibility.
Well, thank you very much, Camilla, and best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.